Hello, 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 and welcome to today's episode of Her Version. This podcast is dedicated to sharing stories of struggle to triumph, a platform that allows individuals to tell their truth in order to inspire and uplift others. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria. Let's jump right in. Hello, and thank you for joining us for this episode of Her Version. The Her Version platform is built on storytelling and the understanding that many times our greatest learning experiences come from listening to other people's stories. Today, I'm speaking with two amazing women named Dr. Elizabeth Rainwater and Dr. Latonya Rainwater. They are the creators of, is it ELRSHOP or ELRSHOP?
ELRSHOP.
ELRSHOP. They spent years mentoring and counseling students to work hard to accomplish their educational goals and encouraging them to go beyond the textbooks. In becoming teachers, they saw a special need to create and provide educational products for kids and inspirational products for all ages to inspire and uplift people around the world. Today, through ministry and mission work, they are making a difference. Welcome, Elizabeth and Latonya. How are you?
Good.
Thank you so much for hanging out with me on July 4th.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Yes, we are up early and we are hanging out today. For those of you that are already jumping on live, thank you so much for being here. For those of you that are watching on the replay, make sure you hashtag replay so that we know that you were here and you were hanging out with us. We'd love to send you some love. So, ladies, I would love to just kind of know a little bit about you before we kind of jump in. Where are you from? And obviously, I'm assuming you're sisters. And, kind of tell us a little bit about you, a couple minutes.
So my name is Dr. Latonya Rainwater, and this is my sister, Elizabeth Rainwater. And let's see, we're the only two siblings in our family. And our dad was military, did over 20 to 22 years in the Army, I believe. And so our family is all clergy. and so that's where our love of ministry comes from. So we've been in a lot of things, whether it's choir, whether it's feeding somebody, mission trips, evangelizing the kids, you name it. We pretty much did it and still doing it. So we also are blessed to have earned over 5 degrees in different things. Wow. And so that's a journey within itself.
Yeah. I would say so.
So, and we not too long ago, back in November of 2021, we opened up our own shop together, which we'll get into that a little bit later.
Yes, I love that. Well, so awesome. So great to have you here today on the Her Version platform. And as you both know, this platform is all based around storytelling, and it's based around listening to things that other people, other individuals, predominantly females, have gone through in their life, and the fact that they're still here and they're still doing well and they made it through those challenges. So the first question that I kind of want to jump in for both of you is, what's one of the biggest challenges that you've gone through in your life? And then what did you learn from that challenge?
For me personally, I would say that one of the biggest challenges that I actually experienced was when I was earning my master's degree. One day we were supposed to be getting in groups, and I ended up after being assigned in a group having a seizure, and I almost fell down a flight of stairs, and I had never had any seizures ever in my life. And so that day I just kind of I felt a bad pain, and I just passed out, and I just started having seizures. And so I had to be taken to the hospital. And from there on, I lost the ability to be able to walk without having seizures. And I couldn't stop shaking. And so I was just worried at the time because I was like, I'm going through my master's degree, but how am I going to complete this? And I'm sick. And so at the time, my sister, she had to fight for me to even stay in school because they were like, well, how's she going to be able to complete her studies? And she's having seizures and she has to take medicine and all these things. And so my sister had to go into the we were both going to the same graduate school, and she had to tell them that, you know, she's going to be able to do this here. And so I was actually able to sit there and do all my work. I was being monitored and helped by my family. And so having their encouragement and having their support actually helped me to make it through. But I could not literally go to my mentorship or school without having a seizure. I would have
How old were you when this happened?
See, this was back in 2011.
Wow.
Let's see. Because right now I'm 35 years old. So let's see. Wait, no. So 2011. I'm pretty sure that I was in my 20s. I'm pretty sure I was in my 20s.
So just one day, you're just in school.
Yeah, I was just in school.
You were totally fine. Like you weren't getting like massive headaches or anything. You're just living your life, living your best life.
Yes.
Then one day you just had a seizure.
Yes. See, prior to having a seizure that day, we were supposed to get in groups. And I never liked to get in any groups because it was always stressful to me. And at the time, being in graduate school, I felt like, you know, everybody's mature enough to get in a group with a partner. But everybody in that classroom was like, oh no, I don't want to be partners with this one, and I don't want to be partners with that one. And all I could think at that time is that, wait a minute, I need a partner, and this is my grade that's on the line. So I really think that I got stressed out in that moment really bad. And I just ended up getting sick that day.
Wow. Wow. So then continuously from then forward until now? Still
No,
oh no.
no. I had seizures for a good couple of months and off and on throughout a couple of years. But one day God touched me and I got healed. So I haven't had any seizure-like activities or anything ever since.
Wow.
So, you know, I was going to church and I was just, you know, before I went to church, after having seizures, because I was in the hospital a lot. So I didn't get really able to go anywhere. So, but I always believed in God. And when I was in the hospital, I was in there and the doctors could not find anything. And so it was scary to me. They could see that it was a seizure and they even said it was epilepsy, but they had no proof. And so
Wow.
they were doing all these tests and everything, but nothing was showing up. And they were giving medicine and it just seemed like it made the seizures even worse.
Wow.
And so one day, you know, I just heard God's voice and I felt his presence and he just let me know that they're not going to find it. He said, they're not going to find it, but he said that I'm going to heal you. And I hung on to that and I believed it. And I kept going because, you know, I felt like if God's going to heal me, then he's going to use me for something great. And, you know, I went to my internship and I worked on my studies and while still having seizures and being inspired and supported by my family. And there was many a times during that point in time in my life that I had to lean on what God had said to me because I wanted to quit because I was like, I'm sitting here and I'm shaking and I'm having seizures. And I just felt like I didn't have outside of my family. I didn't feel like I had the support in school. And I was like, how am I going to accomplish this? They're not understanding that I can't come in there like I want to. And so it was hard. And I was like, well, God, I don't know if I'm going to make it through this. And God was just reminding me that this is what is going to happen. You're going to make it through it. And the great thing about it is that even though I was still sick and I finished everything because they were trying to push back me being able to graduate. But me and my sister ended up graduating together. And I ended up being one of the speakers for that graduation. And so everybody was kind of amazed I was even able to get up there and speak, because I had a hard time walking, so I had to learn that all over again. And I had a hard time with my speech. So sometimes I have like a pause in talking still, but I don't have any seizures.
Wow. Good for you. So wait. So what did you learn? What did this whole scenario teach you?
You know, it just taught me to trust God. It taught me to trust God and to trust that, he has a bigger plan for me, and to also don't give up. Because if you give up on something that you may see as big or even small, then how are you going to see the rest of life? You may just continue on a path of giving up. And so by hanging in there, I looked at things like there's nothing that I'm going to give up on after that. And so it was just an inspiration to my own self. So anything that I went through after that, I was just like, no, it's going to be fine. I don't care what happens. It's going to be great. Even if I have to create something, it's going to be good.
Yes, absolutely. That's fantastic. Next story.
So I'm Dr. Latonya Rainwater, and let's see. I have a couple of them, but let's talk about this one here. So back in, let's see, I want to say 2012, I was going during my doctoral program, going through that, and was in residency during that time. And I woke up that day before going to my residency, and I felt something wrong with my eyes. It just didn't seem normal. So I'm thinking that, okay, you're in a doctoral program, so you're overworked already, and you're just tired.
Yeah.
So I kind of ignored that, something was wrong. And so I was presenting in residency my dissertation and trying to get that approved, and my topic. And I noticed something was still wrong. Like there was blurriness going on with my sight. And I kind of ignored it because it would clear up and then it'll happen again. I went on during a couple weeks later to an international training because I'm a workplace mediator. So I was training how to do mediation in the workplace with other people. And after I got done with that training on that last day, my sight I just felt this extremely bad pain in my, I think it was my right eye, and extremely bad pain, like somebody literally just stabbed me in the eye. And I'm like, this can't be ignored. Something is really, really wrong with it. And so I couldn't get to the doctor because the doctor's office was closed because it was the weekend. And by that time, when I did get to the doctor's office, the sight was completely gone.
And just one eye?
Just one eye. It was pitch dark, completely black. Can't see nothing out of the right eye at all. Still in extremely bad pain. And so when I finally got in to see the doctor, because that was an emergency by that time.
Yeah.
And the doctor saw she was looking in my eyes. She wouldn't tell me anything. She would go out of the office and talk to the other assistant. And then I could hear them talking, and she said, I never seen this happen to somebody that young. And so I'm like, well, what's wrong? And so we did like a field test. I don't know if you know what that is. And what a field test is where they you look into a machine and it tests your eyes, both eyes, to look in the back of it. And
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so they got to looking, and it was completely nothing there. Completely nothing there in the right eye. The left eye was very, very strong. And she said, I have to send you to a neurologist. And I believe this is optic neuritis. And I'm like, well, what is that? And basically what she was saying is that you're going to experience some pain in your eye. And obviously the sight is already gone. So, with some people, if they have optic neuritis, it might be a little bit of blurriness or just plain out, just gone, your sight. And so I go to the neurologist, and he believes it's optic neuritis as well. But with optic neuritis, that just doesn't happen to an individual. Something has to be physically wrong with you. You have to be sick in some way. And so he did what do you call that you get put in a machine? It scanned
MRI.
MRI, where it scanned my brain. And so when they did get the test, when the neurologist got the test back a few days later and called me back in his office, I had lesions on my brain and on the right side. And so that's why the sight was gone. And so he was trying to figure out, well, okay, what caused this? There's only a few things that could have caused optic neuritis. And at the time, my mother's family had they're known for getting like psychrodosis, and that can affect the eyes as well. Okay. It's autoimmune disease. And so they're thinking that, okay, well, maybe she might have inherited that, because my mom had inherited that in her eyes. And so they did a spinal tap, the most painfulest thing I ever experienced. And it's like I had a Dr. Jekyll and Hyde kind of doctor. That's the only way I could explain it. But it was the most painfulest thing ever. And so I went through that, and then they came back, and the doctor had a clue what he believed what caused it, and come to find out I had the autoimmune disease called multiple sclerosis. Oh, wow. And I had the type of multiple sclerosis. I believe they call it remittance, a relapse. So what that means is I would constantly relapse all the time over the littlest thing. If it's sunlight, if I'm standing out in the sunlight, I'll have a relapse. I have some kind of reaction. And so that ended up happening. I couldn't stand outside in the heat too long. I had to have like ice packs or something around me. My walking wasn't that great. I couldn't walk that far. I would get very tired or weak in my limbs, things like that. And still, the sight was still missing in the right eye. And so I was asking the doctor, do you think that will come back? He wasn't sure that my sight would ever return at all. He gave some kind of medicine for it. And it took some time for that to even clear up where I could see again. And during that time, after being diagnosed, I had to take shots in 7 different locations on my body. Wow. Each day. So 1 shot a day in different locations, 7 different locations, whether it was my stomach, arm, legs. I was trained to do that. And then they also trained my sister, because they came a time where I could not hold the machine steady enough to shoot the injection on myself. And after a while, the medicine stopped working. I was placed on 2 different types of medication. And during that time back then, I think they was getting ready to come out with a pill. Yeah. But it still wasn't, I think people was dying from that medication. Wow. At that time. So it still was fairly new and being tested. And I was going during this doctoral program, residency and everything. And when losing the sight, my left eye, I built my left eye up, and I was still typing on the computer, but it got to the point where I could not focus anymore with just one eye. So my sister became my eyes and started typing what I told her for the homework,
Wow.
because it wasn't going to work any kind of other way. I couldn't see. So one day, I ended up, my sister gave the injection shot one day, and I knew something was very wrong when she gave that injection shot. Just automatically, when that went into my blood system, I knew something was very wrong, and that I was shutting down. My body was literally shutting down. So I was trying to remain calm, because at that time my sister had seizures. And I knew if she knew something was wrong, she would have went into a full-blown seizure.
Got it.
And so sure enough, I was going down. I was setting up, but I was literally lumped over and couldn't breathe and couldn't really talk. And so I could see her, and she knew something was wrong with me. So she was running to call 911. And I'm like, everything is gonna be fine. You know, everything will be just fine. Just try to stay calm. And I was just saying that, God, I'm not going to be able to function. I know that I'm just going to be pretty much gone. And I just felt like I was dying. And I was like, God, will just help my sister, because at this point, nobody could help me. You know, it was that medication, I had an allergic reaction to it. And that was supposed to happen day one with that type of medicine. But unfortunately, it happened to me later on, being allergic to that medication, versus what they would say happened common in people if you were to have an allergic reaction.
Wow.
And so I ended up waking up from that allergic reaction, and she ended up being fine. Couldn't find out she praying the same thing. God, just help my sister. Don't worry about me. So you know, it was a very difficult situation to be in, because it was just me and her. There was absolutely no help anywhere. Hospital far away, and you know, it's a very difficult time, you know, being on that medication. I had to self-medicate. So not only was I on this medication that was a high dosage, I also had to take pills on top of that, so I didn't get extremely sick. So this type of medication, the best way to explain it is I had flu-like symptoms every day off of this medication. So I was extremely sick and weak. Didn't really know where I was at times. Somebody could be talking to me, and I just look high as a kite as somebody on the street that's getting high.
Wow.
And so it was just a very difficult time. And then God told me, he said that I'm going to heal you and restore your sight, because when my right eye was healed and I could see, then my left eye started to do the same thing. So it just goes back forth, right, left. And so God said, I'm gonna heal you. And you know, my parents was like, how did she get through this? Where you know, anybody would have been broken over something like that. And I was like positive in that matter. They had people calling me, because during that time they'll pair you with somebody to deal with that. Multiple sclerosis, a mentor, and I'm encouraging the mentor. She's supposed to encourage me. So you know, I just looked at that and I said, because God has me. I was still reading the Bible with one good eye. Wow. And praying, and like, and God said, I'm going to heal you. And sure enough, he very much did. I felt my body being washed, literally washed. I could hear water washing and covering me in my sleep. And he's saying, I'm going to heal you. We went to a church revival. In that revival, God said, I'm going to heal you. Don't take that medication tonight, because it wasn't working. I knew I was dying. It wasn't working.
Yeah.
And so God began to he ended up touching me, and I was healed. I was healed, and my sister and I couldn't praise. You know, I was still weak. I couldn't praise. And so my sister asked God, can I praise for her? Because of what you just did for her. And so God said, yes, absolutely. I'll accept that because I know where she is right now. You know, she just got healed. And you know, that will forever stay with me. You know, my sister was my eyes, and I was her legs and her mouth to speak, because she could not speak during her illness. Unfortunately, we were sick around the same time, you know, different programs, masters and doctorates. So
And both had suicidal tendencies.
yeah,
And you know,
because of the medications.
Yep, because I would mess around with the medicine and all kinds of stuff. I'd take it off and on, and I just wouldn't know what I was doing. And my sister, she had to be monitored as well, by me. So we were watching each other day and night.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Fantastic.
And so what did I learn during that process? I learned to stay humble, because, you know, there are people out here in this world. The reason why I wasn't angry and blaming God for that, I looked at that as there's somebody far worse off than me that's sick out here. And if I can be a positive role model for somebody else, I'm going to do that despite what I'm going through in my mind and in my body. And I just looked at it. I just looked at it that way. And that, you know, thank you, God. If this is it, then thank you, God, for the life that you have blessed me with. If it's not, let me do more out here. And God knows, ever since then, we have did more out here, sharing our testimony. I didn't even know. We was asked in a large international congregation of a church to speak about, because we have so many degrees, to speak and encourage people that's going to school. Mm-hmm. And I didn't, as I shared my testimony, because sickness was a part of that. And I didn't know somebody was going through that very same thing that God just brought me out of. And the person walked up to me and said that I'm sick with that. How did you deal with that? And you know, we begin to pray for that person and be like, you just trust in God. He'll bring you through it no matter what, whether you healed on this side or the other side. And that's what I accepted. Whether I was healed on this side of earth or beyond it, no matter what, I was still going to live my best life through Christ, no matter what. Because whether I was healed or not on this earth, I will bless somebody else. And the reason why I say that is because so many people get sick and they're like, God, I prayed, and they passed away. They didn't get healed on this side, but they did get healed on the other side. There was this man my dad knew that had brain cancer, really, really bad, stage 4. And I tell you, I promise you, this man, our family ministered. He got saved and filled with the Holy Ghost and got baptized. And this man didn't believe in God. He didn't come from a family that believed in God. But being around my dad at work, he ended up hearing about God and ended up believing in God. And this man, when I tell you, this man was very sick in the hospital, he didn't even come out of it. And this man was extremely sick. This man, to his dying breath, this man talked about God, and he encouraged and uplifted those nurses like no other. And that man, I would truly believe he knew that he was not going to make it, but that man didn't care about whether he was going to be healed on this side or not. He was going to spread the gospel and encourage and uplift people with his life up until his dying breath. And that's what that man did. And
I love it.
That there was truly encouragement and blessing, you know, to see somebody that you touched, and you know you're not experiencing their sickness, but you know what it's like to be sick. You know what it's like that you're going to pass away from that disease, and you know that, and you just see people out here, you sharing that testimony, and you're just touching other people's lives. And I see on the screen, what if you don't believe in God?
Mhm.
That's okay, because God believes in you.
Mm-hmm.
You know, because no matter what, God doesn't treat us no more better because we serve him, or because we know him. He loves everybody.
Yes, God loves everyone, and God will touch your life, and he'll take you to places that you never thought that you could ever go. And it's not because he has uh a favorite or anything. You know, God looks at everyone's life and he says that I want to take you somewhere. I want to use you to do great things out here. And it's beyond what you could ever think for your own life. You know, a lot of people, they don't believe in God, but once they get around someone else, or they have their own personal experience, then they start to look at it and say that this could only be God. You know, this couldn't have ever happened in my lifetime, or I couldn't have been spared from getting hit by that car, or from having a turning point in my life without God. I can't do this myself. You know, so I think it's about someone coming into even our lives and being that example, or just having that experience. You know, there's always that crossroad in life where somebody either comes into your life, or you experience something that you know for certain that it's only God.
Yeah,
I love it.
I totally agree with what Elizabeth said. You know, there's so many things that has happened. We haven't always been the perfect Christian, who really is, but there's so many things that has happened in our life, sicknesses, not once, but we have been sick multiple times with different things. And we can share what that is, you know, as you continue to go through the questions. But we have been in traffic and a car hit us in the middle of an intersection, a busy intersection. Our car spent around, and we should have died that day. And you know, you looked at it, and you looked at the car, and you said, my God, only God or somebody bigger than that has looked down and spared my life for the day. You know,
Absolutely. That's fantastic. How grateful are you both for each other?
you know, for me, you know, I think that as time went on from being a kid, you know, me and my sister always had a close relationship with one another. We always did everything with each other. And, you know, sometimes in between that bumped heads with things. And, you know, I think that when we got sick, I think that brought us even more so close. And, you know, because even though we're going to school together and going to church together and stuff, there's nothing like going through something together that'll bring you even more closer, where you're looking at each other and saying that, you know what, um this changed my life. This changed my life, and I have more value for my sister, and she has more value for me. And, you know, we just look at life much more different. And, you know, we pray for one another. We always have, but we pray even more, and we pray together, and we look at things, and we value each other's opinion about things. And, you know, so I just think that, you know, without one another, I don't think that we really truly would have made it.
yeah, you know, God told my sister during that time, "Are you your sister's keeper?" And absolutely, we are. We very much are. And Lord knows we definitely proved that over and over in a very, very difficult situation. I don't know anybody that would have shot me 7 times in 7 different locations, you know, and see that the swelling and sickness and everything that had happened. And the same thing, I don't know anybody that would bring her food in the hospital, you know, and come in there and you know, doing speech therapy, and you know, talk to every teacher she had, talk to every partner she had with her school projects, the president. It didn't matter who it was. I wheeled my sister in that graduate school in a wheelchair to
Wow.
sit in the class because they was going to kick her out. And I said, she can do the work. And
Wow.
she will get through this.
Yeah.
We will be there. We went
Yeah.
from the hospital to the classroom and stayed in there tonight, did it all over again what people don't realize is that we was in multiple programs. We went from graduate school at night, the legal school during the daytime as for mediators and arbitrators, and doing other things, running a business. And so it was a very busy and difficult time for us. Yeah, and for my sister, whenever I always knew what my sister was thinking, because my own sickness and stuff. I was like, you know what? You encouraged me to sit there and do my work. I'm a night owl person, so I had to stay up doing my work. And they were like, why can't you do it during the daytime? You need rest and stuff. And my sister's like, she needs to do it at the times that she's comfortable with it, even though she's sick, and just encourage me, because I would never let anybody help me with anything. My sister's like, you know what? Because I know how you are, I'm going to sit here with you while you do your homework, and I'm not going to bother you with it, but I'm going to encourage you to get through it. You didn't come this far to quit. And I would do the same thing for my sister. I tell her, I don't want you to accept the fact that, okay, I'm sick with something. I know that you're sick, but don't accept it where you're at, because there's more for you to do. And I said that, I'm going to help you with getting your homework typed up and everything. And I would tell her, I would write her teachers and say, look, my sister is doing her homework, but I'm going to type this up for her and I'm going to send it to you. And I want my sister to have extra time with this and everything. But the funny thing about it is that my sister never needed any extra time. We worked it through these challenges and stuff together, and we got everything in on time. And even though people didn't think that we were going to graduate, we did. Yeah, wow. With 4.0. We had all this, and we slept in hospitals. Literally slept in emergency rooms. People didn't realize we were coming out of emergency rooms and going to class our work. And so they didn't realize the hardship that we endured. It truly was a rough time for us. And all we pretty much had was each other. Each other and our parents, and and God. A lot of people did not understand that. They didn't understand. So we also I struggled with having, during that time I had to fight through having, a bad attitude about some things. I look at some things and I'd be like, well, I don't like this, or I get upset. I had all these emotions and stuff, and I wouldn't even know where they were coming from. And so, just fighting through that, my family would be like, hey, you don't have to act like that or anything. I understand this, but I want you to know that everything is going to be all right. So, everything took time, but at the same time, I thank God, because it taught us lessons. It taught us how to be patient. It taught us how to have a great attitude and to fight through these things. And I don't think that we would have had that without this. Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, 100. What was the drive towards education? I mean, it would have been so easy for you just to put a halt on that and say, let's just figure everything out first and go back to education. I feel like most individuals would have just people quit for even sillier reasons than what you guys went through. Why were you so determined to get your education? Where does that come from?
Well, for me personally, I looked at the fact that whenever I start something, I don't never want to stop. And so if I have a goal set or I'm working towards something, God always taught me to finish what you start. And I was always one of those people that's like, wait a minute, I know that this is going on, but I really want to finish what God blessed me to go into. Because whenever we were going to school for our undergraduate degree, God had let me know that you're going to go even further. You're going to go for your master's degree. And I knew that if he was going to bless us to go for our master's degree, that he was going to get us through that. And so I just looked at it like I can't never give up. I have to keep on being focused, because people were also coming to us, even though we were sick and stuff. And they were saying that, well, I don't know how you could come in here and you're sick. And I don't understand how you're going to make it through. And sometimes we even got negative comments and stuff towards us. Somebody had told me that, well, you got sick because you're doing too much, and you're accomplishing too much. And I found that to be, weird. 'Cause I'm like, wait a minute, you're going to school too. You're working towards a goal as well. What does it look like for me to quit and not accomplish what God has for me? I just, there was a lot of different reasons of why she or me would have quit. And losing your sight, your ability to function, both of us, and your mind doesn't function the way it is. I had to deal with that. During that time, my mind wasn't, all that medication, my mind wasn't functioning properly. And I'd be a little bit forgetful. But at the same time, I had to deal with that. That was a little bit of depression in some sort, because my mind, oh my God, it doesn't function the way it needs to function like it used to function. I don't feel the way I used to feel. And you know what? I had to look at that and push through that, because that truly was a very difficult time. And yes, there were so many reasons of why we could have quit, but there were so many reasons of why we shouldn't quit. And as we tell this our life story of many, Lord knows we endured a lot, but as we tell this particular story and it relates to school, it relates to a lot of people that's going to school that want to quit. And there's so many bad things that had happened to us during this process when it came to school, especially with the school system itself. And we tell people, don't quit, no matter what. Okay, we were sick, but you're not sick, but don't quit. Yeah. We mentored people. We kept people in their programs to be doctors and master's programs. We kept them in school. We taught kids in China from ages 4 and up, don't quit. Yes. Just because you have challenges, overcome it. Don't quit. Yes. And speaking on education, me and my sister, we were actually cheated out of our first doctorate degree. We were only trying to get one doctorate degree, and the school, they basically stole it from us. And we had completed all our courses, got to the dissertation phase, and they just would not. They were cheating people out of going forward to complete their dissertation. So a lot of people basically did not move forward and were getting cheated in this school system. And so we were like, okay, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is what God has for me, but I don't know if I'm going to be able to do this over here. And the school system, the people there, they said actually to me on the telephone that, oh, well, we know that this is going on and that people are getting cheated and stuff. Well, you're not the only ones, but I can't do anything about it. And so we actually lost the first doctorate degree that we went for, and they were trying to offer us a master's degree in place of that. But we said, we're not going to accept a master's because we earned a doctorate. And so what we did is that it took us a little bit because we had to step back. That was a challenge for us. We looked at it and we said that this is not fair. So we were like, God, I don't know if I want to pursue this anymore. But we were driving down the road, and God said, I want you to finish what you started. And so we went back and we ended up going to another doctorate program. And that's the one that we completed in 2019 after having other challenges.
Wow. Absolutely fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Such an inspiring story. And one of the things that I love about this is both of you recognize that. I feel like one of the disservices that a lot of females do is they go through stuff, really big, challenging stuff. And then they don't recognize how powerful it is to share those challenges in order to get more people to recognize that they can do it too. They can do it too. Just the fact that you're sitting here and you're like, we helped people. We helped other people that were struggling, that wanted to quit, that weren't sick. That's a self-awareness that I think a lot of individuals that I think especially females deal with, is not recognizing how powerful their stories is. And I think that that's so fantastic. If you could wish for anything, what would you wish for?
I think the biggest thing for me that I would wish for is just for there to be some clarity in the I would wish for actually there to be some clarity in the educational system, and for there to be more help in that. We're seeing all kind of violent things go on in schools, and also when students come out of school, a lot of us took student loans. So I would just wish that there would be more outlets to help students whenever they come out, have professional careers other than what they told us, that promised us and told us that we would have, and you didn't come out and have that. I would wish for when you do actually come out that you do have that ability, because you have so much hopes and so many hopes and so many dreams when you're going to school, and you want to come out and be somebody that's accomplished, but that doesn't always happen. I know it didn't happen for both my sister and I. Got out, we were, working a regular job and everything, and we were just being told that, if you continue to go in your education and build up on this, then you're going to have this great career. Well, that didn't happen, but we were still blessing other people in the midst of that. And when we moved here to Georgia, almost 9 years ago, we didn't move here with a job. It took 5 years just to get the job in teaching kids in China. And so we just look at it like this, is that, it's a big blessing to be able to do that. But we just wish that there was so many more outlets and things for people to do out here once they get done with education, and even while they're going to get their education.
Yep, during those times that both Elizabeth and I was sick, the school system did not have anything in place. Where you can put your injection shots at, and emergency things for people that are sick. Because we went to school with people that was some of them was 70 years old, oxygen tanks, and we've seen all kinds of things. Mm-hmm. So that's why I said we wasn't about to quit. This woman on oxygen tank. Willing in the classroom. So there's absolutely no way we're quitting. But after all that sickness, they placed things there for people that might have that same disease, to be helpful to them. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't, you didn't place it there for us during that time, but I thank God that you did look at our situation, and you had it prepared now to help somebody else. Because there's so many people that's enduring all kinds of things. It don't have to be sickness, but at least the school system needs to be prepared enough to help people, because people are enduring so much during these programs, and they need people to talk to. And we were that for people for many years.
Definitely. So I want to, speaking of education, I want to kind of unpack a little bit what you have both created together as far as a business in and amongst the word education. Can you share more with us about what you do, your business, who you help, what your mission is?
Yes. So we have an Etsy shop called ELRSHOP, and ELRSHOP is based on our first initial of our names and our last initial of our last names.
I love it.
So we wanted our shop to have a special meaning. So we took our names, and we also looked at whenever we were going to provide something for everyone worldwide, we looked at what's missing. And when we were teaching kids in China, we looked and we saw how hard it was for them to even have the resources. And so we looked at it, and the parents would be like, well, I want my kids to have a better life. I want them to learn more. I want you to give them more than what's being presented here. But we had to stick to what the curriculum had. But I would go beyond it, and my sister would go beyond it, and that would sometimes get us in trouble. But we would teach them beyond that of what we knew. And then we get that phone call that, I want you to stick to this, but I never stuck to it. And we just said that, one day we got together and we said that, what, we're going to create our own thing. We're going to create books to teach them how to write. Kids from the United States, kids from all over the world, China, Europe, everywhere. And we want them to learn how to write. We want them to learn how to read, do math, know their grammar and their spelling. And so we made these books together. And we created coloring books that had that would represent different things, and affirmation cards, and just things to uplift and inspire people.
And so in creating those things, anybody that buys out of that shop, whether you have kids or not, people have taken the simplest thing, a coloring book. And our coloring books are unique because we design them based off of what would we like to see, based off the kids we had taught. A lot of these coloring books are educational. It teaches them about culture, drugs, and keep out of that and things like that. But I think somebody took one of the coloring books. I can't quite remember which one it was.
The African American children's coloring book.
Okay, and they took it and they used it at a domestic shelter for women and kids that have been abused. They gave it to the kids, and we know what that's like because we was volunteers for a domestic shelter, so we know what it's like for the kids and the women. So we know automatically by you taking that coloring book, we know how much joy that brought each one of those kids, because they're in a difficult situation already, and that's not home. So just that person did, and we had a conversation with the person that bought it, and we thanked them, because we want anybody buy out of that store to be inspiring and uplifting, and something that they can educate, whether it's giving it away, donating it to somebody. We take those proceeds, every drop, and we pour it back into our ministry, to missions work, to feed people, to evangelize to a child, revivals, crusades, and locally, nationally, internationally. That is our goal, and our dream is to just be an encouragement to other people during difficult times. We're on a disaster relief team as chaplains. People are going through a lot of things, especially with the shooting in the school. And, I think our team might go down there and just be a blessing to the people down there in that community that's going through grief. And going to the most dangerous parts, and just encouraging people that's going through something. And we take those proceeds, every drop, and including even our money, which isn't a whole bunch, because we had lost our job back in March of this year. And so all we have is this shop. And, we're that money that we have earned from teaching, we pour it back into helping others, literally,
and creating these educational and inspirational products. And we just want people to know that you don't have to necessarily have kids in order to give back to a child out here. Like my sister said, there's organizations that you can buy a bunch of coloring books and give it to them to print off all these things. You can give math worksheets, spelling worksheets, donate it to a school. There's all kinds of ways, and we always encourage people that take these products and make them even bigger. Use them for something creative, and let us know what that is. Because we get even more inspired. We're doing even more greater things, and we just want to continue to be a blessing to people.
Absolutely. What's the age range?
So, man, I want to say, is it four?
I say 4 to 12, and then some go to the younger ages, 4 to maybe 16, depending on which product that a person chooses. Like with our grammar book, that teaches kids from, I would say, elementary school age on up to probably middle school. And, it just gives them the ability to learn even more beyond what they're being taught in school. And they can even jump ahead of learning, like the spelling books as well. Those things as well. We made it where it's not just one particular age, but where the kid could continue learning even bigger words. So there's just a lot of things there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, even with these like math book and spelling and the grammar book, even though it says kids, it can also be used for adults, because we learned in teaching English as a secondary language that the parents didn't even know how to do certain things, grammar wise. So even though it's kind of like kid wise, it's actually beneficial to the adult that doesn't know those things as well, because it breaks it down more simpler for them to actually learn. So everybody can be learning from these things. And we have scripture cards just to uplift and encourage people. We have affirmation cards, and those were designed basically because we looked at life and we said that what, I always, these are the things that I would like to have been told, and these are some things that I was told, and scriptures that we love. So we created things that would actually have a powerful impact on people. And there's wall art that isn't scripture. It's like our favorite quotes that inspire people. So we're getting more into that, because we love quotes, and we got our own sayings that inspire people. We're on social media, uplifting and encouraging people all the way around the world that writes in that might not be religious. Some are. That's inspired, by our testimonies and our journey. We've been through so much, and we share that with the community.
Absolutely. I love that. I love the passion that you have acquired from all of these challenges that you've gone through. And I really think that the journey that you've been on is really going to help instill the educational piece that's so important within the younger generation, for sure. Stuff like this, and having women like you who understand it and who actually are putting a focus on these younger individuals is really what's needed in the world today, for sure.
Yes, truly, because reason why we focus on the younger generation is because they are the next generation, and we want to equip that generation and empower and uplift them to go do great things. We don't want them out here doing bad things, or the system get them, or anything else. We want them out here doing awesome things, and that's what we always taught our kids, is that, hey, we want you to dream big. What do you want to be? I asked the littlest babies from ages 4, what do you want to be? Well, I don't know quite yet, but there's this I want to be. One wanted to be a YouTuber. Okay. Well, all right. Well, how are you going to inspire somebody with that YouTube? So you get them young. And
yes.
And another thing is that, we were on our way to get some things for going out of town for a mission trip one day, and we ran into these 2 young ladies that were doing a bullying program. And the young lady just stopped and said, you know what? I didn't finish school. Yeah. She said, I didn't finish school, said that, I always wanted to go to college and do something. Said, do you think that I can still do that? And we said that, you know what? Going to college and going to school has no age limit. You can do whatever you want to do out here. You're already inspiring kids to not be bullies. You can do this. So you should go back and you should do what you always wanted to do out here. And the young lady was so inspired, and she just said, I needed to hear that. Yeah, because like I said, my sister is totally right. There's no age limit. We started in a classroom with a woman with an oxygen tank and people in wheelchairs. And so, and they are older people, and we
looked at that. Our parents always taught us to go to school and be something. When I tell you, my dad was military, and he's like babies at very young age. I think we probably was maybe 4 or 5 years old, and he said, "What do you want to be?" Okay, once you told him what you want to be, how you gonna get there? And so we always had a focus and a plan. And you know, when you look at it, it doesn't matter what age you are. Our mother didn't get an opportunity to complete high school. I think she dropped out in ninth grade because she had over 18 siblings and she helped with them. So she dropped out. But when I tell you, that woman had educated us with little education. This woman we have over 5 degrees, multiple certification, international, nationally. This woman our parents has blessed us so much and educated us with the littlest education they had. They taught us how to read and write at young age, maybe 3 and 4. We was the best spellers. We was the best readers, awards and everything, honors. And these people have blessed us, and we have such a passion for education that it's not even funny that we pour into the education system when it comes to people and encouraging them to keep going no matter what age, because we know how our mother felt. And she said, I didn't make it. But I told her every time we walk across that stage, and then Lord knows there was so many times, but we told her we walked it for you because it didn't matter. That piece of paper didn't matter. I did the work, but it didn't matter as much as it did to them, because you know, this is for you. The work that you instilled in us and blessed us. And we walked for them every time. You know, because we already know that skill set. God once told us that I blessed you with so many tools, and one day I'm gonna open a door so big you're gonna use all those tools. And my God, we have used all those tools.
I love it. I absolutely love it. What are your big dreams for your business?
I would say that one of the biggest dreams that I have for the business is that, you know, people all over the world will come to know about it. That they'll come to know about it, and that they'll see the great things that we are doing with our business to help other people. You know, we put out there all of these videos and things of what we do with the proceeds and stuff. So, you know, we're going to continue to show people what we do with it. And I would love to see a lot of our products turn into different languages and just build from there. What else can I create, you know, for adults and everything that we can think of? We just want to be inventive. And so that's something that has been my biggest dream for this shop since it opened.
That's fantastic. What about you, Latonya?
It's pretty much the same thing. Both me and my sister are creative individuals. We draw, and whatever we can think, we meet that goal and beyond it. You know, we see a need, and we see a lot. And so if we see a need, it's going to probably be in that shop. It's probably going to be in that shop, educating somebody or inspiring somebody. You know, I just saw this here. You know, let me create this to help somebody that's dealing with that. You know, we want that shop to be a blessing to people. You know, every proceed pours into our ministry and mission work out here, but I didn't want to do like a crowdfunding or anything like that. I wanted something where people can have something and be blessed by it, and also see where the proceeds are going as they monitor our lives, because we put that up there. And we talk about ourselves. And so I wanted something where somebody is receiving something, but they also blessing somebody else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So this has been absolutely fantastic. I so appreciate you both coming on and spending some time here on the Her Version podcast, speaking to the females out there who are enduring their own stuff, who are going through their own stuff. And, hearing stories like this is the inspiration that a lot of them need for the day, to be able to continue, to be able to push forward, to be able to create whatever journey they are supposed to be on. But I love to end with advice to the audience. And I'd like to speak to the females specifically. What advice would you give to the females listening live now or on the replay who are struggling with understanding why finishing school is so important? The dropout statistics are pretty high.
Mm-hmm. Yes,
it very much is, and that's why we had became at our graduate school the first two African American females to enter into this brand new mentoring program to keep people in school and encourage and uplift them, because like I said earlier, they deal with so much, and a lot of these was women. They have their own, they have kids at that point with graduate school. They just got married with some of them, or just life in general. And when you look at those things, just stay encouraged and stay in school no matter what, because the rates are very high, especially when they get all the way up to that master's degree and that doctoral level. That's the time where they really they struggle, where they kind of try to drop out. And those are the people we had to talk to, even in our program, and going through the same thing. Their dissertations, and be like, well, I want to quit because my husband doesn't understand that I have all this work to do. He wants me to do this and do that. There's so many obstacles, but just keep on, keep going. Don't let anything stop you, because I'm gonna tell you right now, if in stopping, if you look at society now, it's not the way it used to be. People think that by dropping out of high school, that I could just get a GED and I can just go work at McDonald's. Well, McDonald's now require an associate's degree and a bachelor's. So that very thing that you didn't consider is in the littlest jobs that you think, okay, a high school diploma, they're not wanting that anymore. They want they want college.
Wow.
Education. And so for people that think they can just walk in somewhere, some places you can, but some places they have gotten more strict. You can't anymore. So if anything, that should give you more than motivation, that don't quit. Get something. Something that you can use. And I think Elizabeth wants to say something. Yeah, what I would say to women out here is that it doesn't matter what stage of life that you're in, look at the bigger picture. Just take a look at the bigger picture, and if there's any goals that you have set, or maybe you haven't even thought about any goals, take that time out to look at where you see your future. And if you don't see what that is, just take a time out to look at where you want to be 1 year from now, a couple of months from now. Sometimes people say that, where do you see yourself in 5 years? I look at it like, where do I see myself tomorrow? Where do I see myself at the end of the week? Set small goals and work towards those, and think about, if you're a mother, think about your children. And, if you're an auntie, think about your nieces and nephews, how you're going to be a role model to them. Think about the other people out here that are watching you, that need your help out here. And that should be a great motivation to you to do something different out here. I know that a lot of women, they look at things like, I can't do this because I don't have that. Well, me and my sister have had times where we absolutely didn't have nothing, didn't have any form of money, and you don't have to have money to be able to inspire people. You don't have to have money to be able to do anything out here. You can go out here on the street and inspire somebody by just sharing your story. You can go out here and talk to people. I watch this young lady a lot that just gets up every morning and she brings out her keyboard and just does street ministry, playing music.
And that inspires me when I look at young people doing different things. And I say, well, we're in our 30s and other people are younger than us and even older. We can be an inspiration out here as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely, 100%. So for those that are resonating with your story and what you're doing and your shop, where can they find you on social media? Where are you predominantly present at?
I would say that we're mostly present on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube.
Mm-hmm. Beautiful. And then what is the username for or for one of those, or like what's your Insta?
ELRSHOP.
Oh, really? Wow, you guys made it simple.
Yeah.
Very cool. So Insta, I believe that most people have Insta. Go to ELRSHOP and make sure you follow, like, and share their content. For those of you that are interested in visiting the shop, the website is right above their head, www.etsy.com/shop/ELRSHOP. I so appreciate you both being here. Thank you so much for hanging out with me on this beautiful Monday morning. Again, for those of you watching live right now, thank you so much for being here and hanging out with us. For those of you watching on the replay, make sure you #replay so we can send you some love. Thank you so much for joining us here on Her Version. This community is expanding every single day and is filled with females who are striving to do better than they did yesterday. For those of you that are new to this podcast and like content like this, make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow, like, and share. Be sure to reach out to me here with any stories. I am your host, Sabrina Victoria, and I'm so grateful to be here sharing a platform that allows people to share their truth and inspire others as always.